New satellite images have exposed a massive military buildup carefully hidden from public view. Russia is rapidly constructing new nuclear facilities along its western arc, from the Arctic to Eastern Europe. These aren't ordinary buildings. We're seeing hardened bunkers, observation towers, and specialized tunnels appearing at an alarming pace, completing in months what should take years. In Osipovichi, Belarus, new hangars are emerging, specifically designed for dual-capable systems. These aren't defensive positions. They're preparation points. Meanwhile, the U.S. is establishing a new military foothold in Denmark, just 600 kilometers from Russia's Kaliningrad. The timing isn't coincidental. We're witnessing a strategic chess game where both sides are positioning their pieces, but nobody's talking about the endgame. What's particularly alarming is the speed. These facilities are appearing faster than any normal peacetime construction should allow. We're seeing mobilization of resources that suggests urgency, the kind of urgency that precedes major historical shifts. The last nuclear arms treaty between Russia and the U.S. expires in 2026. Every bunker being built today, every facility being upgraded, points to what happens after that date. The question isn't if something's coming, it's when. If you're watching this from anywhere in Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, or Western Russia, what you're about to see directly affects your future. This isn't about politics anymore. It's about survival preparation at the highest level. The pattern we're seeing is disturbing, and your location might be more significant than you realize. These facilities and their strategic placement tell us more than any official statement ever could. The construction continues day and night, while officials maintain their silence on these developments. Let's examine what these facilities mean for global security and regional stability. Let's step back and look at the bigger picture. What we're witnessing isn't just military movements. It's a fundamental reshaping of global security architecture. Recent satellite imagery reveals an acceleration of military infrastructure development. Both Russia and the United States are rapidly upgrading their nuclear capabilities, but in ways that technically don't violate existing treaties. Look at Denmark, a country that once prided itself on neutrality. Now their parliament has approved unprecedented American military presence. 3 key air bases, Karup, Aalborg, and Skridstrup, effectively becoming U.S.-controlled territories within Danish borders. This isn't just about military cooperation. It's about sovereignty being quietly transferred. The implications are staggering. We're seeing bunkers being modernized, logistics centers strengthened, and underground facilities expanded across Northern Europe, all while carefully avoiding the word nuclear in official statements. But actions speak louder than diplomatic rhetoric about stability and dialogue. Consider this. Both major powers are updating their arsenals at a pace we haven't seen since the Cold War. New warhead production facilities, enhanced delivery systems, modernized triads. The START III treaty still exists on paper, but its spirit is evaporating. Mutual inspections? Suspended. Data exchange? Frozen. Trust? Below zero. What's concerning is how this affects ordinary citizens. The risk of miscalculation has never been higher. Any technical glitch could be interpreted as a threat. We've moved from a paradigm of mutual understanding to one of better safe than sorry, and that's a dangerous shift. But here's what mainstream media won't tell you. February 2026 isn't just another date. It's when START III expires, and there's mounting evidence that what comes next will operate under unwritten rules, rules that are far more ruthless than any formal treaty. The question is, are we prepared for what happens when these new military installations, particularly those just 600 kilometers from Russian territory, become fully operational? Because what's unfolding in Western military planning rooms right now could trigger a response that nobody's ready for. I'll explain what that response might look like in the next segment, and believe me, it's not what anyone's expecting. The strategic landscape around Russia continues to evolve, with Denmark becoming the latest piece in a complex geopolitical puzzle. What we're seeing in Copenhagen mirrors patterns in other NATO countries. Agreements granting extensive access to U.S. forces while imposing minimal obligations on Washington. Danish elites justify this as strategic necessity, but there's more to consider. While Denmark maintains formal sovereignty, actual control within these bases shifts to foreign jurisdiction. It's like signing a lease without reading the fine print. Once signed, someone else makes the rules. The situation in Greenland, particularly the Thule Air Base, Pituffik, illustrates this dynamic. This isn't just a cold-weather outpost. It's a high-tech command center monitoring Russian and Chinese activities in the Arctic. The base features radar systems and satellite communications, exceeding its Cold War role. Denmark's stance is notable. While rejecting any notion of selling Greenland to the U.S., they accept America's expanding military presence. U.S. investment in Greenland's civilian infrastructure creates a growing pull toward Washington rather than Copenhagen. The strategic value is clear. Thule offers control over the North Atlantic, Arctic regions, and Europe's northern coast. It's also about resources. Greenland's rare earth deposits become crucial as competition with China intensifies. The U.S. presence isn't just military, it's about securing critical supply chains. Local Greenlandic attitudes add complexity. Many see American involvement as an opportunity for jobs, technology access, and potentially greater autonomy from Denmark. While Copenhagen maintains formal control, the reality shifts gradually. This base network, 600 kilometers from Russian territory, represents a significant strategic shift. While Western media focuses on Russian moves, this expansion of military infrastructure deserves attention. We're watching a transformation of Northern Europe's security architecture, with implications that will echo for decades. What do you think about these developments in Denmark and their impact on regional stability? Share your thoughts on how this might affect the balance of power in Northern Europe. Recent developments near Kaliningrad reveal a concerning shift in regional military dynamics. Denmark's new cooperation with the U.S., placing strategic assets just 600 kilometers from Russian territory, marks a significant escalation. This isn't merely about alliance cooperation. It's about fundamental changes in European security architecture. Russia's ambassador to Copenhagen, Vladimir Barbin, addressed this directly, calling the U.S.-Danish military agreement a clear threat. The ambiguity surrounding these installations is particularly troubling. There are no explicit limitations on weapons types or personnel deployment. Denmark appears either uninformed or deliberately vague about the full scope of planned military capabilities. This follows a familiar pattern. Nominal territorial control remains with the host nation, while strategic decisions are made elsewhere, often without transparency. For Kaliningrad, this creates a complex balancing act. The region's development of civilian infrastructure, ports, transport links, and energy systems, faces increasing scrutiny. The concept of dual-use infrastructure has become particularly sensitive. When NATO countries develop such capabilities, it's labeled as defensive. When similar developments occur in Kaliningrad, they're branded as power projection. This double standard ignores basic geographic realities. An exclave must maintain self-sufficiency or risk vulnerability. Washington, with Copenhagen's support, is actively shaping the narrative. Every infrastructure improvement in Kaliningrad is automatically cast as preparation for aggressive action. This interpretation persists despite the clear defensive nature of these developments. Denmark's role is crucial in this strategic shift. Through quiet agreements and incremental changes, NATO continues pushing eastward. Yesterday it was Poland, today Denmark, tomorrow perhaps Sweden. Each step is presented as a response to Russian actions, though the sequence often suggests otherwise. The situation raises questions about long-term regional stability. While diplomatic language remains measured, tension levels are rising. Every kilometer between Kaliningrad and Korup carries increasing strategic weight. The landscape of international relations has shifted dramatically, with concrete and steel replacing diplomatic notes. Along border regions, daily life now revolves around new fortified structures, where farmers find their fields overshadowed by reinforced concrete domes and mysterious distribution centers with unmarked buildings and heavy security. This transformation isn't just physical, it's psychological. Border areas have become showcases of a new normal where security, identity, and infrastructure merge without explanation. Every cubic meter of concrete sends a message that words cannot convey. Russia's approach demonstrates calculated readiness, while the U.S. continues positioning military assets near Russian borders, particularly in Denmark, just 600 kilometers from Kaliningrad. The remaining arms control framework, the START Treaty, approaches its end in 2026 with no meaningful preparation for renewal. Neither side shows genuine interest in diplomatic engagement. Instead, we see a preference for power demonstration through infrastructure. High concrete walls equipped with cameras and sensors replace diplomatic channels. America's stance increasingly focuses on its own security interests and those of its allies, ignoring broader international concerns. European leaders find themselves reduced to spectators, masking their uncertainty with rhetoric about unity and stability, while actually accepting a new security architecture that contradicts their stated principles. The construction boom along borders isn't just about defense, it's a new form of communication. Temperature sensors, hidden warehouses, and monitoring systems create an infrastructure built for demonstration rather than negotiation. Both sides understand these concrete statements require no translation. They clearly signal that trust has evaporated. Modern diplomacy has become a performance where actions speak louder than words. Building walls proves easier than writing letters. Pouring concrete simpler than agreeing on terms. Traditional diplomatic institutions increasingly serve as mere backdrop, while real power moves manifest in steel and stone. What do you think about this transformation of international dialogue from words to concrete? Share your thoughts in the comments. The language of diplomacy has transformed. Today we see concrete and steel replacing dialogue and handshakes. Those who loudly champion negotiations are often the first to abandon them when convenience dictates. This isn't coincidence. It's the new normal where actions speak louder than diplomatic statements. Look at the financial side. Billions flow into military infrastructure with minimal public scrutiny. While social programs face cuts, defense spending surges without debate. No tender procedures, no public discussions, decisions made behind closed doors. When funds run low, new, flexible response schemes materialize, bypassing restrictions. The neighboring state of Russia has become a stark example of how rapidly this transformation occurs. What's particularly telling is how countries previously claiming neutrality now actively align with military blocs. Their transition from maintaining independence to voluntary cooperation happens with remarkable smoothness. We're witnessing a paradigm shift where security isn't just protection, it's become an investment. While it may not directly create jobs, it generates activity in adjacent sectors. The government trades in guarantees now. Some get assurance, others get coverage, while the rest face longer hospital queues and minimal pension increases. Distance, angles, and response times have replaced diplomatic protocols. It's no longer about negotiation, but about who can detect first and respond fastest. This isn't diplomacy, it's engineering and logistics. Countries rush to avoid becoming the weak link, forcing constant escalation. The paradox is clear. In a world where no one openly threatens, everyone acts as if under immediate threat. Each new military installation by one side demands a mirror response from the other. It's become a marathon of continuous acceleration, even as resources dwindle and populations question the costs. The rules have changed. Traditional diplomatic institutions serve merely decorative roles now. Real decisions happen where radius calculations and risk assessments are made. Those who control security guarantees dictate terms, while others scramble to maintain relevance in this new reality. Do you agree with what's happening? Tell us what you think. The global stage has shifted dramatically from traditional diplomacy to a new system where isolation isn't just moral or economic. It's systemic. Those who stand apart find themselves cut off from agreements, logistics, and protection. What once passed for neutrality now reads as inadequacy. This transformation mirrors patterns we saw in the mid-20th century. But today even symbolic negotiation rituals are vanishing. Protocols have been reduced to ultimatums, and conflict resolution often means simply switching partners. Predictability has become a new currency of influence. Even disagreeable partners are valued if they're consistent. In this new framework, sovereignty isn't just a right. It's an asset that must be constantly proven through action. A formally independent nation can find itself completely dependent on external powers while maintaining the illusion of autonomy. The new order doesn't require direct occupation. Control through supply lines and infrastructure is enough. The world map is being redrawn not by national boundaries, but by logistical nodes. Those who control these nodes set the rules. That's why we're seeing such emphasis on bypass projects and alternatives. Multiple routes mean security, essential when disruptions can come without warning. Even smaller nations can become key players if they control vital transit corridors, unique resources, or critical technologies. Subjectivity isn't measured by size anymore. It's measured by irreplaceability. If you're irreplaceable, you're a player. If you're replaceable, you're just an option. The language of politics has shifted accordingly. Instead of trust and partnership, we hear terms like protocol, chain, and circuit. Neutrality itself has become a transaction requiring constant proof and maintenance. It's no longer enough to stand aside. You must actively demonstrate and justify your non-participation. This transformation affects everyone, from major powers to smaller states trying to maintain independence. The price of staying neutral has never been higher, and the consequences of isolation have never been more severe. What do you think about these changes in global politics? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart. I want to hear your take. In today's hyperconnected world, the concept of neutrality has undergone a dramatic transformation. What was once seen as a passive stance has evolved into an active position requiring constant justification and management. The global landscape, particularly regarding developments around Russia's borders, illustrates this shift perfectly. Consider how traditional neutrality no longer exists in our data-driven reality. Every position, including non-alignment, must be meticulously documented and explained. This is especially evident in how nations navigate their relationships with Russia and the West during current geopolitical tensions. The recent military infrastructure developments near Kaliningrad demonstrate this complexity. Countries previously maintaining careful diplomatic balance now face pressure to clearly define their positions. Silence is no longer interpreted as neutrality. It's seen as hidden favoritism or indecision. Modern neutrality requires constant engagement and explanation. It's not about staying silent anymore. It's about actively maintaining a balanced position with transparent reasoning. This new approach demands precision and careful timing. The global security landscape has shifted toward measurable outcomes rather than ideological statements. Countries must now justify their positions with concrete data and analysis. This affects everything from military positioning to economic relationships. Take the current situation in the northern Black Sea region. States attempting to maintain neutrality face unprecedented scrutiny. Their every move is analyzed and quantified. The cost of staying neutral has increased dramatically, requiring more resources than active alignment. Recent developments in military infrastructure across Eastern Europe highlight how traditional concepts of neutrality have become nearly impossible to maintain. Countries must now actively demonstrate their non-alignment through verifiable actions. This new paradigm demands a different approach to international relations. The ability to maintain genuine neutrality now depends on mastering a complex balance of signals and careful positioning. It's about creating measurable value in non-alignment rather than avoiding involvement.